It's good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Ashley and I'm 34.
How can I help Ashley?
So, my brother is a hoe.
Okay. Well, and why is that a problem?
To give a little bit of backstory, obviously, my brother and I are 5 years apart.
He's younger, I'm guessing.
He's older.
He's
He's
older.
older.
Okay.
Yes. We've gone through parts of our relationship where we're really close, parts of our relationship where we're not close.
Okay.
And he currently lives overseas. He's lived overseas for the past 5-ish years.
Okay.
To give a little bit of backstory, I found out I was pregnant in 2023. I have a 17-month-old.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations on River. She's
Thank you.
adorable. And so my sister in law actually found out she was pregnant the month after. So we have babies that are a month apart. It's great. I love
Your
it.
sister-in-law being
My
your...
brother's wife.
So he's cheating on her?
Yes, that came out.
Okay.
So they were going through the IVF process, and she actually got an STD.
Oh my God.
So they had to clear all that up because they were going through IVF. My sister-in-law had some fertility issues, obviously, so she thought this was kind of like her only chance to have a kid. So she went through the IVF process. Everything had come out that he was cheating on her, and then when she was pregnant, it had come out that he had been cheating on her for the entirety of their relationship. Um, and so, because he lives overseas, he's taken advantage of things that aren't legal in the United States that are legal where he lives.
Like what?
So, I guess like massage parlors
Okay.
and stuff like that. And I think he was also meeting other women on the internet. So he was going to the local big city, going on dates. Meanwhile, my sister in law is at home pregnant.
At home where?
So they live overseas.
Okay. So she at least
Um,
lives with him.
Yeah, she doesn't anymore, but she does now, or she did then.
Okay.
So when all of this came out, she obviously moved back to the States, had the baby. My sister-in-law keeps a great relationship with my mom, so they can see my niece grow up. But I have received, and my husband has also received multiple DMs from multiple women telling us that I need to control my brother, that my husband needs to control his brother-in-law and stop him from spreading his STDs.
What
Um,
what what are these STDs?
I don't know. I haven't had that conversation with my brother. So, because he lives overseas, it's difficult to communicate with him because he's sleeping when I'm awake. So, I kind of just needed some advice when it comes to. He's gone through waves of ghosting my parents, and my mom simply just wants to talk to him like, how is your day? How is work? How's life? That's the end of that. But he doesn't always respond. So I kind of just wanted some advice on how to kind of keep to maintain that relationship. And then also, I don't really have a relationship with him right now because I don't love, obviously, what he did. And then I also think that it's just difficult because of the time difference.
Is he in contact with his... I'm assuming they're divorced now?
Yes. So they are not legally only for benefits. Once she gets a job, then she'll go through with all of that. But she hasn't been able to get a job because she's taking care of their daughter, and then living with her parents.
Okay. And she does keep in contact with your brother?
For the sake of their daughter, yes.
So your brother's just kind of a loser, huh?
Yeah. And this is like never, this all had just come out within the past like 2 years. Like if you would have said my brother would have done this, he was a little bit of a late bloomer in like the dating world. So I don't like, if you would have told me this 10, 15 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, no, he doesn't have, my husband was like, really? Like he has, we weren't aware of this game that he had.
Well, I mean, have you followed up with any of these random messages from these women that...
My husband did.
And
So my husband had said that he followed up with he got a LinkedIn DM to have us to try and control my brother from spreading his STDs, which I don't know what they were. And I think he followed up, and I think it was just like
STDs plural?
I don't, maybe one, maybe two. I never had that conversation because that's not a conversation I'd love to have with my brother. But he followed up, and I think it was just like a girl that was confused. She was just confused. She thought that my brother had loved her, that they were together.
How much, if at all, have you like addressed your brother about his behavior?
I have not. My parents have, and my parents have kind of made it seem like he knows that he did wrong, but then he just goes home and keeps doing it.
Okay.
Because
Well,
he did come to the States last summer and we had a big conversation and he did meet his daughter. But it was just
Like,
in
what do you
terms
mean
of
meet his daughter?
meeting.
Like, he wasn't there for her birth?
No, he was not.
Man,
So he met his daughter, and I think he tried to get off, but he just couldn't. He couldn't.
what's he do for
Uh,
work?
he's in the military.
Okay. I mean, thank you for your service, but like, is he like in active combat? What do you mean he couldn't get off?
I don't know. I guess
I mean, I know the
he
military is
put in for it.
a different animal, but like,
Yeah,
I feel like they let dads be there for the birth of their children usually.
yeah. I don't know why he didn't really give me any explanation.
Gotcha. And how involved is he really when it comes to
I
being a
don't think
dad?
he's very involved. My mom actually had spoken with him recently, and she said that he was possibly trying to make an Easter basket for my niece, but I don't know to what extent.
How direct do you think your parents are?
They're not. I think, I mean, my mom feels a lot of guilt. She feels like it's kind of her fault
Why?
because, I mean, my parent, just because she raised him.
Oh, yeah, fair enough, but he is an adult. But I don't think continuing to coddle this guy is the answer.
No, no. And I don't think that he was coddled by my parents at all. Like, he definitely recognized his mistake. But I've had conversations with my sister-in-law where because I mean they're still married, she has access to their joint bank account and she can kind of see his spending. And I mean she doesn't care obviously now who he's like with, but she sees the charges on his bank statements,
He's
so
just
she can
getting
kind of
he's just
track where he goes.
he's just getting jerked off by
Yeah.
masseuses. Jesus. Well, I mean, I don't know how much. You said that's not the type of conversation I want to have with my brother. Well, maybe that's the type of conversation he needs to hear. Like, he probably doesn't want to have that conversation with his sister any more than you want to have it with your brother. But like, you have the advantage of not being the one who should be embarrassed by their behavior.
Hmm.
So I mean,
Yeah.
if you're actually willing to do something, you could reach
Yeah,
out to
my
him.
husband and I were thinking about going because he goes to like the nearest big city often, and my husband and I were thinking about traveling and kind of like I don't want to say interventioning him, but kind of. But then logistically, like we don't know where he stays, we don't know what he's doing, like so it would just be hard to track him down.
I mean, you could start with a phone call.
Yeah, I don't know if he would want my brother and I to go over there. I mean, he probably would, and to see us, but to confront him on this sort of thing. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think he would give him the heads up. Hey, we're coming over to confront you.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, maybe before you guys like fly overseas, maybe you just confront him with a phone call. I don't know. I mean,
See, yeah. And it just goes back to it's difficult because, I mean, he's asleep right now. And there's like a very small window in the morning where I'm awake and he's asleep.
well, I mean, like,
Yeah.
it might be a mild inconvenience, but even if you have to wake up in the middle of the night to make a phone call,
Yeah.
it just depends on
Yeah.
how much of a big deal this is to you. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe he has this weird addiction. I don't know. Like,
Yeah. I also think that he's a very high functioning alcoholic. So that's definitely a problem that hasn't been addressed.
yeah, I mean, and this is dangerous behavior. If he
Yeah.
really is going around with multiple STDs, be it like herpes, chlamydia. I mean, chlamydia, gonorrhea, like, these are curable.
Yeah.
But like you
As
would,
far as I know, it's a curable one.
as far as you know, okay. Well,
Yeah.
and hopefully he's addressed it. But like, if he's still going around, I mean, this is dangerous behavior, not only for himself,
Hmm.
but obviously for other people who you know. But yeah, I think you guys you need to start taking this seriously. I mean, the only way to address it is head on.
Yeah.
Just you can't be afraid to have the uncomfortable conversation. You can't. It's definitely going to be uncomfortable, but maybe it just starts with what do you like? What are you doing? Like,
Yeah. And
like,
I think, I mean, there have been times where like I would get a DM, I would screenshot it to him and I would be like, listen, this is not like, I don't want to get involved. Obviously, through social media, like you can tell that he's my brother. I post things with both of us, but I pretty much said like, hey, you need to stop this. Like, this is not. And usually his response is like, I'm not doing anything. Nothing's going on. Meanwhile, I know that that's not
uh,
true.
even if it's just like be a dad, like.
Yeah.
I think you need to shame the fuck out of him for how much of a loser he is for the type of father he's decided to be so far.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, and if he's maybe he needs help getting sober, but like, I think you got to start painting the picture of what you guys see. Like what happened to you. Like you're an absent father. You were a terrible husband. You are destroying people's lives. I'm getting random messages from people. You're passing STDs. You're putting yourself at risk, and more importantly, like you're a terrible father. You
Yeah.
know,
I feel like the conversations that have been had, he's kind of like, I know, I know, I know, I'll be better. And then
No,
once he
are
gets
you
home, he
guys are you
just,
guys being direct, or is it like, hey, like, you should do this, are you tiptoeing around it, or are you just
I don't think my parents are. Like I said, I haven't had any conversations, and obviously that's probably something that I need to do. And if my husband and I talk to him, like we won't tiptoe around anything. But I don't believe my parents have. I believe my parents, when they confronted him, they were very direct and they were like, clearly, you know that this is wrong.
yeah. I mean, it's terrible. Like I couldn't imagine. My biggest advice for you is like if you really care about this, then do something about it. Obviously
Mm-hmm.
traveling there would be a huge step, but like right now you say things like, well, I can't really find the time to call him. Like you could, like, what I'm saying? Like you could wake up in the middle of the night if it mattered, like
Yeah.
you could go out of your way to make sure you were available because he's not going to obviously go out of his way. He's not
Yeah.
going to make it convenient for you. So he's
Yeah.
going to make it inconvenient for you. But like, if you want to try to help him, you gotta go out of your way, and you
Yeah.
can't, things like I don't want to get involved or it's not my problem. Like, like with certain things, I totally get it. It's just like, you can't, you're not his parent, but you're not, but if you are seeing a loved one or someone you care about, not only put themselves in danger or put other people in danger, and you're worried for their well-being and the other people around them, at some point, yeah, you need to make it your business, if you really want to help this person and you can't,
Yeah.
and listen, at some point you might try, you might call him, you might even fly there and he might not listen. Like at least, but what you don't want to happen, is something unforgivable. I mean, it's like he's already done some kind of unforgivable things, but like it could get
Mm-hmm.
worse,
Yeah.
and you don't want to think you didn't, if it got worse, you don't want to feel like you could have done something more.
Yeah.
You might not be able to do anything. I don't know. It sounds like maybe your brother is really in bad shape, and I don't know what he's experienced as someone who's been serving in the military. I don't know what trauma he's had to endure, if any, by serving in the military. Obviously you're not a professional therapist. It's like you can only do so much, but you definitely haven't done everything you can, right? Like
Yeah.
and time zone differences really shouldn't stop you from going out of your way to doing whatever you can. And it starts with just like having an honest conversation and just be like, hey, I mean, I never thought I'd have to reach out to my brother and like tell him to like wrap it up or like, make sure you're getting, that's bare minimum. But like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? I mean, hey, you're a single man now. If you want to, but like at least be safe. But more importantly, this is about like be a father, like
Mm-hmm.
check in on your kid. Like you're responsible for a life. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like you're going to look back and be really ashamed,
Yeah.
with yourself. And like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to address. I don't know how to have an intervention when it comes to an alcoholic. Maybe Al-Anon is I know a support group of people who have family members who are alcoholics, and they probably have some useful tips how to address that. But I just, again, my biggest advice is do everything you can to help, and just you're gonna regret if you're able to look back and think "Yeah, I kind of just I punted. I acted like it was inconvenient. I made excuses for why I didn't reach out, you know, but, you know,
Yeah.
because like definitely like, cause right now you're like, well, I can't really get a hold of them because of different time zone. It's like, you can.
Well, and also like the conversations I do try to have with him, and I try to ask him things that aren't necessarily like one word responses, but that's a lot of what I get. Like, how's this going? How's that going? How's this going? And he's just like, great.
Yeah. I mean, cause it's probably not going great. I don't know. He's probably obviously hiding it, but asking him questions, I don't, if again, not an expert here, but I'm guessing, if he is an alcoholic, there's a lot of denial there. There's
Yeah.
a lot of issues there, right? So like asking him questions about how they're doing, like I don't. It's just you need to. speak to him and tell him exactly how you feel, what your concerns are. Lead with love
Yeah.
always. Like, hey, I really love you. I'm worried about you. You know, the brother I grew up with, the brother I admired, where did he go? Like, what happened? I just never thought you would be an absent father. I just never thought that you would treat your family this way. I'm shocked the way you take care of yourself. Like, this is destroying lives, including your own. Like, you
Hmm.
need help. This is not the behavior of a healthy person. This is not okay. You know, I love you. I will always be there for you, but this is not okay. This is wrong. You need to stop. You need, like, you know what I'm saying? This is the shit you need to say to him, not like, how are you doing?
Yeah. No, that definitely, I mean, that helps.
Yeah. So, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you're in a tough situation, and I really empathize with you and your family because you're right. You can only do so much, and you could say all those things, and it might not get through to him. But like, at least you will know you tried,
Yeah.
and just like obviously let him know you'll always be there for him. But like, you're not gonna condone or support or look the other way when it comes to his bad behavior.
Yeah. We've made that very clear.
Um. So ugh. I'm sorry. It sucks.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, you know, every family has their issues. You know, every family has their. But be there for your niece. You know, thankfully she has good grandparents. Thankfully she has you. Hopefully someday she'll have her father. The good news is, you know, his kid's still very young, and hopefully he sees the error of his ways. But boy, he's missing out on some magical moments. It's a real
Yeah. My
shame.
sister-in-law has definitely expressed some concern with the fact that she will probably grow up without a dad, but we can definitely have that conversation.
Yeah. Well, I'm wishing you and your family nothing but the best. But like, yeah, just do everything in your power and don't and make it your problem.
Right. Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, take care. I'd love you keep us posted. I'd love an update on how things, you know, play out.
Yeah, I sure will.
All
Thank you
right.
so
All right.
much.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The days are longer. The sun is out shining until 8 p.m. And it is so wonderful because we get to enjoy our backyard more. And with all of our pieces from Wayfair, it makes our backyard feel like such a beautiful oasis that we love to spend time in.
And we got this wonderful teak table from Wayfair. It's amazing. It's wonderful. We love it. And
it's so fun to eat dinners out there because we're eating dinner on something we made with our bare hands. Well, we put together with our bare hands.
Yeah. It makes us feel handy, and we connect by building furniture from Wayfair. It's really great. You know, it's like
most couples fight. You know, most couples are like, get the wrench. And we're like, oh, honey, I love you so much because this Wayfair piece is so easy to put together and so beautiful and so lovely. Wayfair has so many great essentials for your outdoor area, whether it's seating, structures, like you could literally get a hot tub from Wayfair. They've got outdoor dining like we're raving about. They have storage and decor. There's something for every style in every home, no matter your space or budget. Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your spring home goals with endless inspiration for every space and budget, whether you need a light refresh or an organization overhaul. Free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. They'll help you set it up. Find all of your outdoor must-haves from seating to garden, trellises to pool lounges to trampolines, all in one convenient space.
Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online this summer. Get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Headspace. Ever heard this conversation? You meet someone, they say, how are you? And without asking, you just reply, I'm good. Well, when you say I'm good, you should mean it. And listen, the world is a busy, hectic, kind of chaotic place right now. And we, again, need to take care of our peace of mind. We always hear about meditation as almost like this thing that everyone's supposed to do. And I myself, before I found Headspace, was like, what is meditation? How am I supposed to do it? And what's great about Headspace, it is guided meditation to help you just kind of connect with yourself, whether it's for 5 minutes a day or a little bit longer. Headspace is the app that helps 100 million people with their mental health and well-being with guided meditations, mindfulness practices, breathing and calmness exercises, and so much more. You can reduce stress, boost your mood, and sleep better.
Headspace combines scientifically proven benefits of meditation and mindfulness with modern practices, and you learn from experienced meditation teachers. The app has customized, personalized approaches to help you navigate through all of life's moments, big or small. It doesn't matter if you are just starting to get into meditation or if you've been doing meditation for years. They have you covered on every end of the spectrum you might be on. When you're short on time, Headspace has these very quick on-the-go programs that help you get in the right headspace in just a few minutes. So maybe you're about to walk into a very stressful meeting or a job interview and you need just like a quick little, let's get everything together. You can sit in the car, do a quick on the go program from Headspace and feel better about everything. Plus, with over 1,000 hours of mindfulness exercises, it's got the most complete meditation library you've seen. So you can always find something that works for you.
It's amazing how much benefits you can get from Headspace by just carving out just a few moments each day. Feel good and mean it when you say it. For a limited time, get Headspace free for 60 days. Go to headspace.com/viallfiles. That's Headspace, HEADSPACE.com/viallfiles to unlock all the Headspace free for 60 days. That's headspace.com/viallfiles. How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. How can I help?
I'm 35, and my question is, should I get divorced or should me and my husband fake it till we make it?
What would you be faking?
We'd be faking happiness, pretty much.
Okay. And you both acknowledge your misery?
To an extent, yes. We just acknowledged recently, a couple weeks ago, we had a sit-down talk, and we came to the conclusion that we are just not compatible.
Okay.
We have love for each other. We have a family together, but our personalities are complete opposites. And we're just not as compatible as we thought we were. I'm 35 and he's 44. So there is a 9-year age gap.
Okay. All right. How long you guys been together?
We've been together going on 8 years.
Okay.
We've been married for 5.
Okay.
A little bit of important history
Okay.
is he was married before for 17 years and he has 4 kids from that marriage.
Do you two have any children?
We have 1. He's
Okay.
4.
When did you start noticing or feeling this incompatibility?
When I had my first child.
Okay. And what made you realize that?
I think we went from he went through his divorce. He had been married. He'd been a parent for a long time, and then when we started dating, it was fun and exciting and we got to go and travel. We would go to Vegas, and then we decided to have a child of our own, and that's my first child, so I'm all in on being a mom for the first time, and he's already done this 4 times. So we're just in different phases of life, if that makes sense.
Sure. I mean, I don't know what it's like to have multiple children yet, but are you saying his excitement for being a father is no longer there or something?
No, he's an excited dad. He plays, he's there. He just has no problem with going out, and having fun or doing a date night. Whereas I have more of guilt with that.
Does he want to do a date night with you?
Yes.
Okay. And you just don't want to?
It's not that I don't want to. I just feel like I prioritize moments and being with my son more.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. But there is balance,
Right. That's what we think we have to try to find is the happy balance, but we're just kind of stuck in it.
Are either of you leaning one direction more than the other?
He leans towards fake it till we make it.
Okay.
Because he's able to do that. I am not.
And I guess back to the faking part,
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned okay, I see the difference in he's already been a dad before. He's got no problem saying, "Hey babe, let's go on a date. The kid's going to be fine." You're just want to be next to my son, but other than that, where are some other points of incompatibility or things that make you kind of checked out of this marriage?
He is still close friends with his ex-wife.
Okay.
They were married for 17 years and they have 4 kids together, and they still have this friendship that I am not okay with. So that causes some
Wait,
issues.
what part aren't you okay with? Because obviously they do have children together. So,
Yep.
It's interesting. I was talking to someone yesterday and completely, a different story. But I was just talking about her new boyfriend. Her boyfriend is a dad, recently divorced, and he's not friends with his ex-wife.
Uh-huh.
And I just kind of said and she was looking for some advice in terms of how to integrate with this family or whatever. And she has some concerns about just her boyfriend's parenting style and his ex-wife, because this kid's kind of running rampant. And I just kind of talked about how the fact that they're divorced or, they don't have to get along as exes, but like they still need to be a team
Yeah.
when it comes to
Right.
parenting this child. And
Yeah.
the best way to,
I agree with that.
you know, so what is the part other than like, yeah, why
Like,
are you
where
so
do they cross
uncomfortable?
that friendship
Yeah, where do they
boundary?
cross that? Like, hey, we're a team co-parenting our 4 children.
Yeah, so we've gone through all phases with this. It's been 8 years of this trifecta. At first, there was no communication at all. Like, I did not exist to her. There was nothing. Then we went through a phase of we'll be cordial and just talk about kids, period. And then it became like, let's all be best friends. And that's where I'm trying to make the boundary, because I feel like we should only be talking about kids things.
So now she wants to be your friend.
Absolutely. Like, she wants to be me and my husband's best friends. She texts us if she has like a bad day. She's texting us. If she just wants someone to talk to, she comes to us. I feel like she should have someone else to
Is
lean
she
on.
single?
Yes, she has not dated anyone since their divorce.
No one?
No one.
Yeah. Well, I can see why that's a...
Right? It's a little weird. It's like she's just waiting.
Well, I don't know about that part. I mean,
So
you think she's just waiting for your husband to get divorced so she can have a second chance?
I think so, because like her hobbies now are exactly his hobbies. She's picked up everything that he likes to do. She's picked up on it.
She could just be lonely.
She
I mean,
can-
do you think he would give her another shot?
He says no. I've asked. I've flat out asked. He says he has zero attraction to her. It would never happen again.
I believe that.
I do too.
And like as a man, I'm just saying, I don't know anything about your husband. Nothing. I'm just usually when we're done, you know? And
Yeah.
sounds like, and as harsh as this might sound to his ex-wife, like the fact that he said he's not attracted to her anymore,
Yeah.
probably is playing a big role in his lack of interest in her.
Yeah.
And usually those things don't just flip on a head.
Okay.
So regardless of what she wants, and again, I'm making a huge generalization here, but I also feel fairly confident in making it. I think you've maybe gotten in your head a little bit based off of her behavior, because it is generally kind of a weird dynamic. But I think you're pretty good there in terms of what he might do.
I think so too. When I put like my rational cap on,
Yeah.
I do think that way. It's just in the moment when she's all up in our text messages all the time, or coming by the house to see the kids when she shouldn't. Well, not that she shouldn't. She should always be allowed to see her kids, but like I just feel like it oversteps sometimes.
Yeah.
And
What-
then her taking over his friends group. I mean, there's just boundaries
What do you mean
that have
taking
been
over?
So he had this group of friends that he hangs out with where we live, and she now hangs out with them on their Friday nights. So I cut him off from being able to go, because you're not going to go hang out with your ex-wife while I'm at home with the kids. Like, then I turn into like the babysitter. Like,
Yeah, well,
y'all's
that
kids
part's
are at
weird.
our house.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know her, I don't know him, so it's easy, you know, like but I really don't think she's a threat to you, and I think she is lonely.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think that too.
it would make a lot of sense knowing nothing about your husband if, you know, like he more or less just didn't care, and her presence doesn't irritate him like it
Yeah.
irritates you, and
Yeah.
it's just like he might, I don't know. Also, I'm sensing he left her for.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he probably has some empathy and guilt for basically upgrading, you know, and I'm sure that's how it feels like for her. And so his reasoning for letting her in or letting her stick around or even infiltrate the friend group, I mean, it would make a lot of sense if it's mostly around that, or because he's married to her 17 years, he just knows she's not a threat. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he just,
I think you're reading it very accurately, because you're saying a lot of the things that he has said. It's just hard being on this side of it.
sure. And which I totally get. And when it comes to that, everything else aside, because obviously there's a lot to unpack here, but when it comes to that relationship, you might just have to decide to get over it.
Yeah.
And you know,
Right.
it's just like one of those,
Fake it till I make it.
yeah, in a way. I mean, if that is one big issue, you know, if that is a huge issue, then yeah, I would hate for you to leave a situation that, you know, especially if you love your husband and you want to maintain the family unit. I mean, maintaining the family unit, like as a new dad, and have this unconditional love for my daughter. I mean, obviously it's crazy for me to even speculate, because I feel so blessed currently and with what Natalie and I have going on and how we feel about our relationship and the work we put in. But like, God forbid the unexpected happens in the future that we can't predict. It's just like, yeah, I see the motivation parents have for wanting to stick it out for the sake of the family. But like, I don't believe people who are truly miserable are doing anyone any favor by staying in a relationship that doesn't serve them for the sake of kids, because, just kids are smart enough to pick up on that.
Yeah.
That being said, I do think there's a lot of people out there quitting way too early in marriages because like a lifetime together is just not, it's not easy. It's just like,
Yeah.
it goes through these various phases.
I've told him that too, that I think this phase of life that I'm in right now is 100% for my son. Like, I'm just living every moment with him, and it's just a phase. Like,
but are you willing to challenge yourself? Because it's one thing to say, oh, I'm in this phase, and then kind of like fully immerse yourself in this phase, regardless of what this phase brings. And I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong with your son, but listen, like, I think you can always, I'm a big believer that too much of anything can be a bad thing. I truly
Yeah.
believe that. I think good things are weaponized and abused all the time, but like, yeah, I think it's good for parents to leave their children and come back. Right now, like, obviously Natalie and I have this bond with our daughter. Her bond with River is deeper and more connected than mine is. You just see the mother child, there's a literal bond there. You can almost just see it.
Yeah.
I get it. And yeah, when we leave, we're lucky enough to have great help, but and there's been 3 or 4 times where we've left River with her grandparents for a night. One night, once it was 2. It's hard for Natalie. It's harder for Natalie than it is for me.
Yeah.
But I have to remind her, it's just like River needs to learn that we can leave and come back. She needs to. It's healthy to know that, like, it's not always healthy just to always be there. It's not. It's like, so. It's healthy to miss people. It's healthy to, like, eventually your son's going to grow up, right? And eventually he's going to want some distance. And it's you're not doing anyone any favors by trying to, I guess it's not to say, oh, well, yeah, he's going to get older and distance himself. So I need to get every moment in now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the best outlook on that situation. I think it's all about balance.
Yeah.
I think it's good to get out for a date night.
Yeah.
Even if you might miss a moment with your son.
But what's your perspective on it? If so, I work full time and I have a second job that I work sometimes.
Suffer.
So
yeah, no, I get. Yeah, that's definitely a different wrinkle.
The time that I have with him, to me, it's hard to give up.
Is the second job's like, is that something that's just kind of necessary because you guys have to make ends meet, or is it something you're doing for another reason?
It's photography. I picked it up as a hobby that I enjoyed doing, and then it's rolled into more of like, I started making money with it, so we went with it.
Okay. Well, that's awesome, but like that's, now you're faced with some choices,
Right. Yeah. And I've cut back a lot. Like, I've decided this summer I'm not going to do as much.
Yeah. Listen, if you want to make your relationship work, you have to, you have to water that flower, so to speak, too. If you want to make this career work, you have to, it's like you're just going to have to decide, what's more important. The passion projects could always be there. You're really young, again, obviously you're making money, so that helps. Once you start making money from something and you rely on it, it's like, oh my God. So yeah, you might have some tough choices. I mean, what are some other things that are lack of compatibility with your husband?
Just straight up personality differences. Like I watched your podcast with Allie on it, and then I looked up our birth charts.
Okay.
And literally what him and I say about ourselves was in those birth charts. So like, I'm cut and dry, direct, to the point. I'm the caretaker. I'm not touchy-feely. I'm more of an acts of service kind of person, and he's the complete opposite. So he is super sweet, loving, wants to touchy-feely, wants us to hold hands all the time. Like, he would be a koala bear attached to me at all times
Yeah.
if I let him.
Well, that's Natalie, and I'm you. So I don't
It's
know.
hard.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, maybe we're not as much as extreme as you and your husband, but like, I'm sure there are times Natalie would want to be more of a tree so she could be the koala bear. And I'm just like, I can't, but I'm
Yeah,
always down to
right.
hold her hand. I'm always like, I love touching my wife and being affectionate, I don't like to be smothered.
Yeah.
And so we were, we kind of worked through that, but like, it's generally not like a problem, but I'm getting the sense from you that you are looking for reasons to want to leave more than you're looking for reasons to stay.
I think I'm looking for someone to like balance it out for me almost, because I think I could find a happy meeting place in the middle for us. Whereas he wants more of a 0 to 100. Like he wants a huge dramatic change to where he's getting all of his needs met to a T. Whereas I'm saying like we're a little bit too different. We have a little bit too much baggage at this point. Like we need to find a
Well, that was my other thing. It's just like, all right, so I hear that he would like to have more date nights and quality time with you, and you're resistant because of time with your son. Okay, so that's something that he would like you to compromise on that you've been a little resistant to. Sounds like, well, he wants you to compromise too. Are either of you willing to meet in the middle? Like, are both of you willing to, if the fake it till you make it, you've addressed the fact that there's some incompatibility there. But the big question is, are you both willing to acknowledge that the other person has a right to have their needs met, and that while what he wants is different than what you want, are you guys willing to compromise? Are you willing to do some things that aren't your first choice? Like when it comes to my marriage, it's like we have a lot of things we're really compatible with, a ton, more than I ever had with a girlfriend. There's also things that like we're not compatible with. I have to be willing to do things that I don't want to do sometimes. Hell, every day, I have to do things I don't want to do sometimes. As an act of service person, it is a little easier, I think, for me because it feels like an act of service to make a sacrifice or a compromise for the sake of the relationship. And then selflessly, I get a little value from that. But,
That's true.
To a certain extent. But you both have to feel like the other person is willing to compromise, because if one of you is willing to compromise and the other person's like, well, no, like I just like, I'm not really, I need all of this. And if you can't give me all of this, then I'm never going to be satisfied. Well, the other person's like, okay, well, I'm just asking for a little, then that's not going to work.
Right. I think the times that I've tried to put in some effort and do something that he would enjoy, it's not like 100% there. Like if I put the little one down to sleep and then I get up at night and I want to go watch a movie with him, if I'm not like snuggled tight close to him and I'm sitting like separate on the couch a little bit to have some space, but we're having some quality time, to me, I'm doing my 50%. But to him, it's not like you're not smothering me. So it's not
well, I
right.
guess it's like this. I'm guessing for him, it's less about you're not smothering me than like, I want to feel like you love me.
Yeah.
You know, I want to feel like you need me. We all need to feel needed.
I've told him before that I don't, and that was probably a mistake. Like I'm so independent. I'm totally fine. And I probably shouldn't have said that because it comes off very harsh, but that's my directness.
Yeah, I was to say a bad choice of words. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
That's definitely something you probably should just keep to yourself, is like, hey, if I need to be alone, I can fucking do this.
Right.
I'll be fine. Yeah. Cause I think, I think we all need to be needed. I think society accepts even maybe too much that women like to be needed. So much so that sometimes society decides that women need to be needed, that's always the case, because like yourself, not always the case. But men need to be needed too, and they want to be desired and they want to be appreciated. We all want to feel like we add value to our partners' lives. I said this to someone yesterday. It's just like there's a lot of relationships and marriages, and heterosexual relationships where husbands are just kind of treated or seen eventually like useful idiots.
I can see that. Yeah.
It's like, because all men, it's just like leave the cupboards open, do absent-minded shit, like just, I think every husband or man can just does eventually just does 100 things a day that you could roll your eyes at, probably, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's just easy to be like, oh God, if you make your husband feel, and it says to everyone, like he's just a useful idiot, he's gonna hate you. Eventually he's gonna hate you. It
Yeah.
just is. Because no one wants to feel like a useful idiot.
The reason that I've kind of created that, like, I don't need him in me, is because he prioritizes himself and his happiness a lot, which
Okay.
I think some people should to a certain extent. But like, if the surf is good, he's going surfing no matter what.
Okay.
He makes time to go to a coffee shop and read. He makes time to go for a walk on the beach. Like, he makes his time to do his things regardless.
So his actions tell you that he doesn't need you as much either.
Yeah, in essence, yeah.
But do you feel that way, or is he saying that make you feel less guilty?
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like he does those things selfishly. I don't think he's a selfish man, but I think he does those things because he needs to do them, regardless of what else is going on.
And so in your world, you would like him to maybe check in on you a little bit more?
Yeah.
Or
that's what I've told him in the past, is like, okay, you know the surf is going to be good today. You know you want to go surfing. Can you do something productive before you grab your surfboard and go? Take the trash out on your way out. Surfboard, trash bag,
do you
like,
say
go
it
out together.
So do you say it like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what the trick to calling customer service is?
No.
Asking for help.
Yeah.
It's not calling up and being like, I need you to do this. You know, if I need, like, I call up customer service, I'm like, I really need your help. I'm in a really bad situation. I need your help. Everyone wants to feel like a hero. Everyone wants to help someone. There's not a person in this planet who doesn't get a personal, like, good feeling from feeling like they helped someone, as opposed to do your job, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of people are just like, no, you fucking do that job. You know, be
That's where
productive. It's like
that's
such a
where it goes.
condescending, like, you know, you're not talking to your husband, you're talking to a child, you know, you're being his parent. So if it's like, it would be really helpful if you could take out the trash before you go surfing. You're going to get a way better response than, can you be productive before you go have fun?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
It's the delivery for sure.
It's night and day. It's night and day.
Yeah.
And if every time you asked your husband to do something, it was more like, hey babe, could you do this for me? As opposed to you just, you know, you say it with a little irritation, a little frustration. It's night and day. I can't stress that enough, especially for men. Men want to be strong and feel strong, but we are often weak. We are. You know, all the criticisms that women will say when they get together about men, a lot of them are true. You know, like, we are soft, weak, emotional babies. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we can do great things when we are supported, you know? So it's like, you know, do you want to see the good in us or do you want to see the bad in us? It's like, it's kind of like your choice, you know? And then again, you know, for you, it's like fake it till you know, it's just like, listen, if you don't love the guy, you know, if you don't want to be in a marriage, don't be in a marriage, right? But I am sensing from you some things that are just like general relationship problems, normal marriage issues. And while you could leave your husband and find another guy, no problem, and you could find a guy who's night and day different than your husband. And if you find a guy who's night and day different than your husband, I can promise you the first 6 to 12 months of dating that guy, you're going to appreciate all the differences in the best possible way. You're going to be like, oh my God, my husband never did that. And that's so cool. He takes the garbage and blah, blah, blah. And you're going to be so obsessed with all the things that you love about this new guy because your husband didn't do that, right? Yeah. But then you'll get to know the new guy, you'll settle in, and then you'll just get used to the things you like. And then all the things you don't like, well, you'll start noticing slowly here and there, yada, yada. And I'm just saying, like, you're going to have another list of things you don't like about that guy. And you're going to have points of incompatibility you don't like about that guy. And he's going to do things or not do things. And again, I'm not saying, you know, I know very little about your relationship. And like, I can only give you notes by what you're telling me. And your husband needs to do his part too. Like, you know, if a marriage is on the rocks, it's going to require two people to, at a minimum, feel like they equally want to save the marriage. You know, if one person's like, I want to save this marriage, and the other person's like, you know, I don't know if I do. You know, it's, you should get divorced. You know, it's like, because, you know, at a minimum, you still have to both want to make this work. And
I
just
told him that at the minimum, I just need to feel prioritized.
have you guys talked about couples therapy, or you've done couples therapy?
We've done it. It doesn't really go anywhere because it just kind of goes in the same circle every time.
How many couples therapists have you worked with?
2.
Okay.
And they're both female. And I told him if we do it again, I feel like he should find maybe a male therapist to work with us, because I feel like the females just tend to side with me unintentionally. Like, I'm not trying to get them to pick a side. They should be neutral, but it often turns into he comes out to be the bad guy. And I don't like that either.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that should never happen. I think it's easy, yeah. It shouldn't be a constant theme, because I mean, you seem like a normal, rational person. You don't even like that he feels that way, and the fact that you've had 2 therapists and you can even be like, he ends up kind of being like the bad guy. Like,
Yeah.
You know, maybe you need to try a 3rd therapist. I don't know, and maybe it is a guy. I don't know, but like, I feel like a good couples therapist plays mediator well, where there might be a conversation where one person feels a little ganged up on, but that should even out. You should both feel like a good couples therapist makes sure that both people are feeling heard. That there's always 2 sides to a coin, because if you're both not feeling heard, then, if one person felt like they win, you both lose. That's not the point of couples therapy. It's not to play referee. It's just to try to be like, all right, you have a point of view, I have a point of view. We do not get each other's point of view on our own because we're too caught up in being right or feeling heard, that we're not willing to listen to the other person who also wants to feel heard. And so a good couples therapist is just making sure they're the ones keeping score, so to speak, not in a winning, but just to make sure it's like, all right, well, no, we heard your point, like just to call out people. Cause like sometimes when we get triggered and we, get in fights and get emotional, our childlike brains come out, and we're just fighting and arguing and bickering. And a good couples therapist is just, like, to me, that's it. But like, yeah, your husband has to want to make you feel prioritized. And your husband, despite his guilt around his ex-wife or whatever the reason, he needs to respect some of your concerns. On the flip side, I do feel like what I'm hearing about the ex-wife is you've just decided it's weird, and you've decided it's not normal. And based off of that alone, you don't like it, even though maybe deep down she's not really a threat. And listen, like, I will say this, like, you married a man who had 4 kids and an ex-wife, it's a blended family, and it's not the same as like, me and Natalie have our own beautiful, complicated families, and we have our own beautiful, complicated relationship, because everyone does. But like, yours is unique in itself, where like, we don't have ex-husbands and wives and kids from other families that we have to consider, and that's just something you married into. And the alternative is like, it's better than toxicity, like, I do feel like, despite this irritating you, if it was still the first phase where there was no communication, she fucking hated you, she wouldn't even say your name, it was just always tension, that would be a nightmare. So like, this is better than that,
I think I struggle with like, it's better than that, but like, it still sucks.
Yeah, but I think it could be a lot better if you let it be better. I'm getting the sense that you've just decided it sucks because, again, you're just like, I just don't like it. I just don't like it.
I just wish she would find someone. Like, I wish she would find a companion.
Yeah.
And I think that would make it a lot easier for everyone.
Have you tried to let this woman in to your life?
Yeah.
Can you talk to her about like dating?
I don't think we're there.
Okay.
Like, we've gone and done things, just her and I, just to have like some bonding time outside of the family dynamic. And it's fine. It just gets weird when it's a constant communication with her and my husband.
Yeah.
And the fact that she won't date anyone is weird.
She hasn't even tried?
She did, like, in the beginning, she went on one date with a guy, and then that was it. Like,
how
literally,
she's
44.
And is she her best version of herself right now, or?
I think so. I mean, in the beginning, no, obviously, after going through a divorce, I think everyone is going to struggle a bit. Now, I think she's doing great mentally, physically. She works out every day. She's physically fit, mentally. fit, I think.
Do you know any
So
eligible bachelors?
I've thought of trying to set her up, but
Only just to see how she would respond. Like, I honestly, like, it's not really about like really trying to play matchmaker with her. I am curious how she would respond to you trying to set her up with a guy.
yeah.
And I think that might be an easier approach rather than like sitting her down, have her a cup of coffee and having some sort of like dating intervention with her and being like, why haven't you dated anyone? Almost being like, I know this really great guy who I honestly think you'd be a great match with. And like, would you be interested? And just maybe see if that opens up the conversation about her points of view on dating.
Yeah.
You know, like I would
Yeah.
just be curious
Yeah.
if I were you.
Like, even if I'm making it up at the time.
Honestly, yes, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, hopefully you have someone who you can
Yeah.
set her up with because like, you're like, oh, I didn't think you'd say yes. Just kidding. But like that might be an in, you know?
Yeah,
But I think right now you're just kind of fucking annoyed. So you're not even going there. You just want her
for
to
sure.
stop. So it's
Yep.
like, if you're going to stay in this marriage, you just have to accept this situation and make the most of it and work with what you
Yeah.
have rather than just stubbornly being like, this is stupid. I don't like it. It either needs to stop or I'm out. Like, you know, you definitely can do that, but like,
Yeah,
it is kind of what you signed up for.
I know.
And again, like, I get why it's irritating, but if that's one of your biggest frustrations of your marriage, I feel, you know, I don't.
Well, I think we'll get through it. It's just my mindset with it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I'm glad you can acknowledge that. You know, the combination of knowing you don't need anyone type of thing or just being frustrated. And, you know, I feel like there's a little stubbornness from you.
Yeah, I can admit to that.
Yeah.
And it also mixes with the not being prioritized. Like, I feel like if she said, hey, I need you to do this, and I simultaneously at the same time said, hey, I need you to do this, I personally truly believe my husband would jump for her.
Have you communicated that to him?
Yeah.
And what does he say?
He says it's not true, but I've felt it before. Like, if she needs something, he does it so quickly. And his reasoning is because of the kids, obviously.
Yeah. I bet there's just a shit ton of guilt, and he probably doesn't realize it. And he, you know, you're his wife in a way, so he takes that for granted in a way where it's just like, she needs my help, and I abandoned her.
Yeah.
Because he did. He left his wife for his selfish needs. He upgraded to someone he was more attracted to and thought was a better fit for him, and he left her.
Yeah.
And he abandoned his wife.
How does he get rid of that guilt?
Well, to a certain degree, he might not always totally, especially how old are his kids?
The oldest is 24, the youngest is 14.
He might, you know, listen, I don't know, I'm guessing he's not in individual therapy, but like he's, you know, his therapy is surfing is probably his therapy and reading.
He does meditations. He's really into philosophy. Like, he works on himself and his mind a lot.
That's great, but he also needs to want to work on his marriage too.
For sure. Like, that should be up there.
Yeah, it really comes down to, I think you guys need to decide. First of all, I think that you got to change your language a little bit, you know?
Okay. The delivery, for sure.
Yeah, you definitely need to. And just your guys' delivery with each other, like fake it till you make it. I mean, if there's no love there, get divorced. But if this is more like, and I say, because when you say fake it till you make it, it sounds like you hate each other, you know, like, you know.
We've definitely been there at times where we're just like at each other's.
Well, sure. But if it's more like, listen, like you know, obviously I'm very frustrated at you lately. I still love you and I want this to work. And I want to do my part. That's the part that you guys at least have to align on, is the desire to make this marriage work and the willingness to do each other's parts, and an acknowledgement that both of you have both kind of like selfishly, stubbornly put your foot down, waiting for the other person to go first. And until the other person goes first, you're not going to do your part. That's where you're at now. And you both at a minimum need to at least acknowledge that, you know? And it's just like, whether it's individual, couples therapy, more meditation, more surfing, and then you need to work, you know, like you probably just need to work on your delivery. And as far as the ex-wife, maybe try to let it go for a period of time. And you could say to your husband, I've decided to like let it go for these reasons, because I just feel like she doesn't have anyone, and I really like, I think I've probably just made a little bit too big of a deal about it, and it's gotten into my head, and I really don't think I have anything to worry about with her, so I've decided to let it go. At the same time, I still really need you to please try to just be aware of the fact that I am your wife and she is your ex-wife. I get it. You're going to want to like be there for your ex-wife because you have kids together, but please try to be mindful that I want to feel first. You both need to ask each other, what can I do to go out of my way to make you feel validated or supported or prioritized, that I'm not doing a good job today? And you maybe both just get to speak freely, and the other person doesn't respond with I don't know, but you both say, okay, I'm committed to doing that. And you both have to then hold yourself accountable. You know, it's just like, again, it comes down to, you're not connected right now. You're at each other's throats. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of resentment, but do you guys both want to make it work? Because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It's just like, you know, this whole like, oh, well, I'm going to love you forever and we're going to be together forever. I mean, you got to wake up and want to make it work. It just comes down to that. You have to want to make it work. You have to look at this person and go, I want to be with you. And right now you fucking suck, but I want to be with you, you know? And like, at a minimum, a marriage needs two people who still want to figure it out and try, because there's not a single marriage out there or relationship that doesn't have points where you're just completely disconnected and at each other's throats and just very frustrated. But you need to have this, at least the desire that this is my person and I want to go out of my way to fix this and make it work. And that has to come from both parties.
Yeah. I think we both want those things, and then we get to the point of talking it out, and then we get halted because we say, well, if you did this, I wouldn't do this. You know, like that tit for tat type thing.
Exactly. So it means like, let's say it's like, can we both do that? We need to both stop that. Again, it's like that we and us language. You have to start incorporate more than the you and I language. And it's, again, like I really honestly think it would be a great exercise for you guys to sit down and be like, what's one or two things that you would love me to try to either compromise on or go out of your way that where I'm not meeting your needs today, that I could, no questions asked.
Okay.
And you both say that without no excuses, no justifications, no reasonings, no, just something you're both willing to do.
Okay.
And that should be easy, you know, because you have to, all you have to do is give a shit, you know, because the whole part of the exercise is doing something you don't want to do, or doing something that doesn't come naturally, or doing something that isn't just you're doing because you get some kind of satisfaction out of it. Like, you know, again, acts of service. It's just like, it's not completely a favor. You get something out of it, you know? It's like, yeah, I want to make you feel loved. I'm doing this, but like, I feel love by doing things for the people I love, you know? Now, you want to feel appreciated as an acts of service person when you do those things. And sometimes, you know, the problem with being an acts of service person is just like, you do those things a lot, and then there's often can be overlooked, and the people just kind of, you know, it's like, that's just something you do, you know, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, when did this become my job? I was doing it because I loved you, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So there's a little bit of that. That will always be a sticking point in your relationship. Like, you know what I'm saying? As long as you're in this marriage, you will always have to go out of your way to be more affectionate to him. He's always going to have to go out of his way to be more appreciative of what you do and be willing to help on the things that you do, because it's not your fucking job, you know?
Yeah.
And he's always going to struggle with that. You're always going to struggle with that, but you both have to be willing to do that, you know? The big thing,
he has stepped up a lot. He's stepped up a whole lot. Like,
that's good.
He's doing more.
Yeah. My big thing for you too is just like, again, like, if nothing else, and I say this to all the ladies listening, just like, even if it's manipulative, just like, make your husband feel important and loved and like needed. And, you know, if he does something that he's proud of, fucking make, you know, it's like,
shout it out.
Yeah. Just like, you know, you will get so much out of your guy if what you are more than anything is his cheerleader.
Yeah.
You know, if you
His
just
birth chart says he needs that.
oh, well then every man needs that, and if he needs it more than anyone, then yeah, that's something you're gonna have to work on because that definitely does not come naturally to you. Yeah, I can tell it just doesn't come naturally to you.
No, yeah, I'm very like I don't know, harsh, I
No,
guess
I get
is
it.
the
Like
word.
you know, I know that because I know me, and we have some similarities in our personality, but like it's important.
Just play it up sometimes.
Yeah, it just goes a long way. It goes so
Okay.
far.
Okay. I think I can do some things to incorporate that into
Yeah.
our
You
everyday.
honestly probably will have to cuddle with him less if you just make him feel
Yeah.
like a king, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You all you women want to feel like a queen, and the not so big secret is men want to feel like a king too. You know, we all want to feel that. And maybe one thing his ex-wife has over you in her loneliness and desperation is she might make him feel those things that you don't.
Yeah. She's complete opposite. Like her tone is soft and sweet, and she's able to like communicate and get through to him because of her tone, where my tone's like F you, like I'm going to talk the way I want to talk.
Yeah.
So she's soft and I'm hard. So
Maybe try to soften it up a little bit.
yeah.
Sounds like you and your husband both need to find that balance in your personalities, and I'm just going to be me only works so much. When Allie and I first started dating, I felt like honestly comfortable in my skin for the first time. I mean, honestly, she was like the first person I dated in years. So I was like, oh, I had a girlfriend in years, so this is new to me. But there's a balance when you get older of understanding who you are, of not trying to be someone else, so that you can say to whoever your friends or your partner is like, listen, this is who I am. So like, I hope that you love that, because like when I was 19, I tried to please people and that never worked out. So this is who I am.
Yeah.
And that's important to be who you are. At the same time, like I kind of joked with Natalie, like I'm always going to struggle with, I'm a little absent-minded. I can leave things open and I will work on it, but just a heads up, like if your plan is to get me awesome at this, you just leave me now. Because it's just not happening,
Right.
Doesn't mean I have to try, it doesn't mean that I don't have to work on things. It doesn't mean that I still have to put the effort in, it's not an excuse to just say, well, this is who I am and you'd have to deal with it. No, it's more of this is who I am, so I'm going to be me, and overall I want you to accept me. But when it comes to some of my shortcomings or points of incompatibility, I'm going to do my part to bridge that gap.
Yeah. Okay.
And right now it sounds like you and your husband are unwilling to do your parts to bridge the gaps.
Yeah, that's where we get stuck for sure.
Yeah.
I think we want to get to the point where we're both doing our parts. It's just a struggle to get over that hurdle.
So sit down and be like, can we just stop being stuck? Like, let's just what's the point of this?
Yeah. We're both just being stubborn.
Yeah. If we're going to be together, let's try. And you know what? If we give it our best, then fine, we'll get fucking divorced. But right now, we're not even trying our hardest to make this marriage work. Right. Maybe a first step would be to say, I'm really sorry for saying I don't need you. And that wasn't true, because I do, and that honestly, you do, could you live without him? Sure.
Yeah.
Do
I want to?
Yeah.
No.
Is my life better with you when we're at our best? Yes. And I think you should apologize for saying that and say, I shouldn't have said it that way. It's not even what I meant. He wants to feel needed by you. I can promise you that.
I know that too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, was this helpful?
Very helpful. Yeah. Just hearing another man's perspective and how you were able to just pick up on our personalities quickly is very helpful.
Okay. Well, keep me posted. I'd love to know how it works. And maybe if you guys want to come on together, I'd love to chat with you both if that's something of interest to you guys. Yeah,
for sure. I think he would like that, because I think he needs to hear another male's perspective, just mutually hearing both sides.
Yeah. Well, I'd be down. I'd love to do it. So let me know.
Okay. I will.
All right. Take care.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
With prices going up on just about everything lately, being smart with your money isn't just a good idea, it's essential. But managing subscriptions, tracking spending, and cutting costs can feel overwhelming. Lucky for you, Rocket Money takes the guesswork out of it so you can easily make smart decisions. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. I know that there's new shows popping up all the time on different apps, on different streaming services, and we're always like, oh, well, let's just like do the free week to like watch this one show, and then that free week you forget about it. You're paying for it every month. You have no idea you're paying for it. Well, Rocket Money finds those subscriptions and can cancel them for you.
Also, they will help negotiate and lower your bill. That seems crazy, helping you avoid going to customer service on your own. They really do that. Also, Rocket Money's dashboards give you a clear view of your expenses across all of your accounts. Easily create a personalized budget with customized categories to help keep your spending on track. See your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money is going. Get alerts if bills increase in price, there's unusual spending activity, or if you're close to going over budget.
Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Download the Rocket Money app and enter our show name, the Viall Files, in the survey so they know we sent you. Don't wait. Download the Rocket Money app today and tell them you heard about them from our show.
True Classic has one mission: make sure guys look good and feel even better. And I gotta say, they've nailed the fit, feel, and price across your entire wardrobe. Not just tees, but hoodies, jeans, activewear, everything you need to level up your everyday style. So ladies, if you are looking and maybe you're doing your man's laundry, maybe you looked in his drawers and saw some drawers and you thought, you know what, this is a little outdated, this is a little gross, a little grungy. I need a man who like presents a little bit nicer. And it's amazing how easily you can elevate your man by just getting him some true classic pieces that just like fit well, look great, hold their structure at a price that is the best part of it all. I've been wearing True Classic for a while now, and from the first piece I put on, I knew it was different. Snug where you want it, relax where you need it, no weird bunching, no awkward tight spots, just a clean, effortless fit that works.
If you're not sure what to get, they have a staple 6-piece that you get 6 of their fitted crew necks in essential colors. So comfortable and looks, honestly, so amazing on. They have some great winter must-have, some long-sleeve Henleys, fleece hoodies, jeans, button-ups, joggers, and more. Honestly, they have so many pieces that you can elevate your man's closet with. Forget overpriced designer nonsense. Skip the cheap throwaways. True Classic delivers premium essentials built for real life. Grab yours at Target or Costco or head to trueclassic.com/VIALL to get hooked up today.
How's it going?
Good. My name is Rachel. I'm 28. I'm wondering if the guy I'm talking to is a horrible communicator or if he's just not into me.
Okay. Why do you think he might just not be into you?
I would say I don't really have that much experience like dating. I'm a very lazy dater. So I don't know. Like, I can't tell if he just is a bad texter or if he just like is a bad texter with me.
Define bad texting.
We have good conversations, but he will only respond every like couple of days. We'll be having a conversation and then he just won't respond. And then 3 days later, he'll be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like I've just been really busy."
Okay. How long have you been hanging out with this guy?
We met on Hinge. I think it was either December or November, and we've been out a couple of times. Well, not more than a couple of times. We see each other every, I'd say, 2 to 3 weeks.
On dates? Is he taking you on dates? Is it just like...
Yeah, he takes me, like, we've been out to dinner.
Have you hooked up?
A little bit.
Like,
A little.
like no sex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sex.
What's that? No sex or sex?
Sex.
Okay. So you hooked up. All right.
Yeah.
And like it sounds like this is like pretty casual. Have you guys have any conversations about like whether you guys are into each other or see potential in this, or is it just kind of like every once in a while you guys just like chat about life and then he comes and goes? Because like, what month are we in? We're in April. So you met in November.
Yeah.
You've known this guy for 5-6 months now.
Yeah. So when we first, because we met on Hinge, right? So you can kind of see what someone is looking for, and like obviously we talked about that, and he is 31.
Okay.
So he's thinking about like starting a family, getting married, like he talks about it. And yeah, we talked about that a lot. Like on our first date, he was asking me questions like, what was your last relationship like, and what would you want from a future partner? So it was like a good deep conversation. So I thought it was like kind of going somewhere. And yeah, now I don't know.
And that was just like the first date?
That was the first date, yeah.
And since then?
since then, I don't know, we just like have fun together. I'm really comfortable with him. We talk about anything,
Except
um,
except how it's going.
except
Okay.
except the good part.
What do you mean by you're a lazy dater? I've never heard that phrase.
I'm like queen of circling back to my ex situations. So I don't know, a lot of guys that I've talked to in the past will come around again, and I'm like, I'm not really talking to anybody, so I might as well entertain it again. And then I don't really go out much, so I don't know how to meet people, thus Hinge. But Hinge overwhelms me after a little bit, so I
Sure.
usually like
Take a break.
make it and then delete it every couple of weeks. So
I think that's
I'm not really
fairly
meeting
healthy. I mean, it's easy to feel fatigue from dating apps. I don't think you're any different nowadays. We've become a society that it's honestly, it's a tragedy how terrible of a communicator we are, communicators we are, period. Like men aren't approaching women anymore, partly because they've been told they're either obnoxious or at best or dangerous at worst. And so guys don't want to, meanwhile, I think there's still a lot of women who would love to be approached by men, and it's just, we just stopped going out, anyway, so you're not the only one. So just don't, it's like, you're not the only one who's having a hard time meeting people in person. And I wish things would change in that department. But until then, I think dating apps are a totally fine and acceptable form of meeting people, as long as we are willing to take breaks and as long as we understand that dating apps come with fatigue and it's very easy to get discouraged because, dating in general, as I always say, like it's meant to have more misses than hits. Like in baseball, they say if you get a hit 3 times out of 10, you're a Hall of Famer. In dating, if your goal is to only meet one, and so if one out of 200, still a Hall of Famer, you know what I'm saying? So like, but we forget that, so to speak. So back to, your situation. Yeah. Part of it, part of the problem, it sounds like it is you, because you're just kind of, like I think a lot of people, if nothing else, you're familiar with these men, you're comfortable. So which means you're comfortable with these men. And when they hit you up and you kind of decide, well, I don't really have anything going on, I'm kind of bored enough to say yes. And I don't think that's the end of the world. We've all done that. I've done that. It's like, you know what? I actually did have a pretty good time with her, and I definitely don't have anything going on right now. So why not? Why not? And so it just comes down to like, intentionality, right? It's just like, how intentional do you want to be with your dating life, right? Like you're only 28, you're still really young. I'm not sure what your relationship goals are, especially around like children, because it's easy for me to say you're young, but I don't have to deal with any biological clock or things like that. What you're doing right now is not helping you find your person,
Yeah.
It is keeping you preoccupied. And so if your goal is to like stay busy and not be lonely, you're doing a pretty good job. But if your goal is to date for the purposes of, hey, I've had some fun, I've participated in hookup culture, I've had some situationships, but like I'm ready to meet someone, then it requires the willingness and ability to be alone, feel lonely at times, and it's going to require you to like initiate conversations that are slightly uncomfortable to have, but the key part is before that is just that willingness to be alone and feel lonely at times. Because often we don't have the conversations we feel like we know we should have because we're afraid of the answer we might get. And then we're like, well, if I don't get the answer I want, then this thing might end. And honestly, I do like having him around. So this is fine. It's fine. That's kind of what we tell ourselves.
That's true. I should mention actually that I have a child from a previous relationship.
Oh, okay.
That's like one of the things I'm afraid of for a relationship is getting into a serious relationship with someone and like getting married, having more kids, and then breaking up and like having to do it all over again. Like that's like my worst fear with dating right now. So that was really close to that. I was like in a serious relationship last year, and I just like we weren't connecting like our personality wise, but he was like perfect in every other way. And yeah, I don't know, like I'm trying to find someone with all the qualities, but also like connect with me.
Yeah. Well, listen, like dating is scary, like it is. And it sometimes feels scarier and scarier as we get older because we feel like we have less time. You know, when we're dating him or younger, we're like, you know what? It's okay. You know, I'm only 21 or something, you know? And then you have a child, and then you're all of a sudden you're 28 and you're like, fuck, I got to get the next one right.
Yeah.
But that's just doesn't work that way, you know? And also how you're going about dating now is it makes it even less likely that you're gonna get what you want because you're not being intentional about it. So it's like you're so afraid something bad could happen, you're not even trying to make something good happen. You know,
It's
it's
true.
like if I never have it, I can't lose it.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah, you know, type.
Yeah.
How old's your child?
He's gonna be 3 next week.
Okay, congratulations. Yeah, I mean, and so do you want to have more kids?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I want more siblings for her, and like want someone who wants a family. Well, obviously, I want someone who wants a family, but I would like to have children with like my next partner.
And right now, like, are you like, do you introduce these people to your daughter at all?
I only introduced my last boyfriend to my daughter, but we were dating for almost a year.
Okay.
And I don't really want to introduce anyone new to her until I'm like for sure know that they're gonna stick around, because like she still knows his name, like my ex, and it's like it makes me sad that she like is looking for him sometimes. So I don't really want to put her through that in case it doesn't work out with the next one.
I think you're just putting yourself through things. I think she's going to be fine. I don't think she won't even remember. But I totally get why it makes you feel sad. But I think the truth of that statement is you don't want to put yourself through the guilt of hearing your daughter say someone else's name. But like she's not going to remember. You know, she'll be fine. My daughter is going to meet people. She might be people that she connects with that it might be a babysitter that like we don't use anymore or something, or like, you know. So my point is like you feel this extra sense of guilt and pressure and around being a mom, and as every mom and parent does, but like your kid's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Like, kids are adaptable, resilient, and I think you just have to try to reframe your feelings on that and just acknowledge that she's going to be okay. And yeah, you have some guilt around it, but like you have to give yourself some grace so that you can have a chance at building the life that you want for you and your daughter. And so you have to kind of you have to have the right frame of mind, and then you have to be more intentional, right? Giving your situationships and these casual men, you know, chances to stick around is definitely not getting you what you want. It's just kind of keeping you preoccupied. And it's also kind of keeping you sidelined. So as far as this guy, I don't, you know, usually when you have to ask yourself, is he just not that into me or something else? He's usually not that into you. At the same time, you know, it definitely can be just two people being very casual about it, because I do think nowadays, like, I think people are just bad communicators and no one wants to take a shot. No one wants to put themselves out there, especially when two people start having sex. I'm getting 85% of what I would get out of a relationship, and I have to do, and I have no responsibilities, you know? So most people, that's why they take the 85% of a relationship, because they have this this unlimited freedom.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do anything. If I were you, I would just find out.
How do I find out?
Well, do you like this guy?
I like him, but I mean, yes. Like,
there's no bad answer.
I'm very, yeah, I know. I just like, I'm trying to word it right, but
I didn't ask if
I'm
he's the
very
love of
good
your
at,
life. I just asked if you like the guy.
I know. I just like, I'm very good at like compartmentalizing my feelings. So like, I know that if he tells me that he likes me, I'll be like, oh yay, then let's date. But if he doesn't, I'll completely be okay. But like,
Listen, I know
like,
you will definitely be
yeah.
okay, right? You're gonna be okay no matter what. You know, you'll have your good days and your bad days, but you're gonna be okay. You're a mom. You're capable of almost anything. You know, like, give yourself some credit. But like, I know you're gonna be fine. I think that you deep down are worried you won't be. You know, and I think you have a lot of fear of being hurt, and I think you got a lot of fear of putting yourself out there, and I think you've convinced yourself to live this kind of casual dating lifestyle that's kind of very non-committal on your end to avoid the rejection or the pain or the hurt.
I think I'm just kind of like nervous, like not nervous, but like I feel like it's so hard to find another person that like that I'll like all these qualities about, and I feel like I'm running out of time again.
Well, you are only 28.
I,
You got a lot going for you. I can tell, So I think you just have to change your perspective a little bit.
yeah.
I heard if he wanted to date you, you would date him.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I say you should find out, I think you should just tell him you like him. I mean, do you think you could some version of, hey, I really like I've enjoyed these past few months. I think we should actually like see if this is a thing and be exclusive and try. And I want to do that. And are you, do you think you can do that?
Maybe.
What's the worst that could happen?
He says no. No. Yeah.
I mean,
I
yeah,
could do that.
but you're right. That is the worst that could happen. And it's not like that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Because
So,
like, right,
text him
like
or call.
you're not like, oh my God, this guy's my dream guy. He's the best. He's like, you like him. You would
Yeah.
date him. You're not obsessed. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if you get rejected, your ego will be triggered. It's going to feel more painful than it actually is for a few days. And then you'll get over it. But that's kind of it. But right now you're just sitting here wondering, just wasting a bunch of energy.
Yeah. Just be like a in-person or a text.
Conversations are always more effective in person, At the same time, I also don't think this needs to be some sort of profound conversation, I think maybe next time you guys get together, you can just say, I hate the what are we question because that immediately gives your power
I know,
away,
I hate that.
Yeah. Because then you're asking their permission, it's like, what are we? And then they're going to be like, well, I don't know. Like, we're having fun. That's exactly what he's going to say. And you just say, listen, I really enjoyed this so far, but you know me, I don't got time to waste. I'm a busy person. You got a daughter, you don't have to point that daughter out. You could just say like, this has been
I
fun.
don't have time for this.
Yeah. But like, I like you. I like you enough so far. And always say like so far, be like, fuck, we don't know each other that well, but what I know about you so far, I really like, and I see potential here. Don't say I see a future because you don't. You see potential,
Yeah.
And I think we should try. And if he's like, I don't know, I always say anything but a okay is a no. And you don't convince or plead. You don't try to, well, I think you're just like, okay, all right, well, I definitely don't want to keep doing this because like you're fun and this is cool, but I don't have time for, I'm not looking for casual. And obviously we've been hanging out for a few months and like, if we just keep doing this, doesn't make sense for me. Maybe it makes sense for you, but like like the more, and I wish I could I want to stress this on every call, especially in these kind of dating situationship types of things where you're confused and you're worried about what they might say. It's just like the more you just show without trying to prove that like you are going to be okay, that you have shit going on, that you're a busy person, that you don't have time for people wasting your time. Yes, you'll get more answers that you don't like, but you will also like people will find you more in demand. They will, find you more attractive. They will really ask themselves if this is worth letting go. You know what I'm saying? Like when people show you that like they're not willing to have you waste their time, they immediately want to be in your orbit. You know what I'm saying? Like they do. It's not it doesn't make like every man obsessed with you, but the ones who are taking you for granted but actually do like you will take you for granted less. And a guy can like you. We all can like people that we take for granted all the time. And if they, because that's just human nature. When people when we, again, I've used this analogy, like if something costs 15 and you give them 20, chances are they'll take 20, every time. And so that's kind of where you're at right now. You're not asking for change. You're just like, yeah, I mean, sure, I guess I'm free.
Really?
Is this helpful?
It is. It's just yeah. I need to boost my own confidence.
About what? What are you afraid of?
You're right that it's not about him, it's about me, and I have to set my own like boundaries in terms of what I want and make sure I'm telling people what I want instead of just going with what they want and just letting things happen.
Not every guy is going to be into you. Not every person, but a lot. I get the sense that you pretty much can have you have plenty of options. So, you're going to be fine. You just have to work through it. But the more you tell yourself, you should be able to tell yourself that you have enough going for you that you deserve to be picky and be patient, and you can have high demands and high expectations of people. Because I'm not getting the sense from you that you're like one of these people where I need to be like, whoa, I think you need to maybe look in the mirror and just ask what you're willing to do for them. You have a lot to be confident about. And I think you should start acting that way.
Thanks.
Yeah, you got to kind of give your like, I don't have time for fucks. Nothing men like more than just realizing a woman doesn't have time
That's
for
my
what?
Hinge headline. My Hinge headline.
I don't have time for you, honestly. It would probably be a banger with men. You know, try saying, do you ever say no to these random invites?
I mean, if I don't like the way they look.
No, I'm saying, do you ever say
Yeah.
no to men that you do like?
No, not usually. I'm really bad at saying no, honestly.
Or just, be busy, or just not right now. Just pretend to be busy.
I could try that.
Yeah, like if a guy calls you the day of, never go out with him that day. Ever.
Okay.
Ever. Like if you get a call like 3 PM, like, what are you doing tonight? He's bored.
Right.
Something reminded him of you, coupled with the fact that he probably like is feeling lonely, or maybe he just got rejected in some other aspect of his life. He needs a pick me up. You popped into his head and he's like, what are you doing tonight? Any guy who asks you out day of, you're just unavailable. It's like, oh yeah, I got plans tonight. But I'd love to get together some other time. At a minimum, a guy should be willing to make a plan with you. And if he's not willing to make a plan with you, he doesn't like you enough. Or you haven't challenged him to make the plan.
Right.
We don't like to do more work than we have to do. I'd incorporate that little one into your just never saying yes to that. Yeah, just be like, yeah, just be busy, maybe some other time. But as far as this guy goes, I think you just need to practice saying exactly what you want from this guy.
We have plans tomorrow.
You do? Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Go out, have fun, and at the end of that day, I wouldn't sleep with him.
Okay.
So have fun on the date and just be like, yeah, I was, no matter what he says, I wouldn't sleep with him, even if he says yes. Well, unless he's like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. Then sure, have a ball.
Okay.
But anything short of that, I would just, and again, don't be sad, don't be mad, and don't try to convince him. If you don't get the answer you want, and that is a yes, I'll think about it. I'm not sure. I don't know. That's all. Those are all no's.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, listen,
That makes
okay,
sense.
well, if you're not sure, then I am. And that's totally okay. But I just don't got time, and it's very chill. It's very matter of fact. It's very like unbothered, very just like, cool. All right. Yeah, no problem. Because that will rattle, if he cares at all, that'll rattle his cage. If you don't get the answer you want, and you often don't at first when you do something like this, and he doesn't freak out in less than a week, he's not your guy. If he's not afraid to lose you after you have shown him that you are unbothered by moving on, don't take his calls. Don't let him casually check in. Don't let him don't let him get back in the routine. It's just like you've been hanging out for 4 months. You've been basically acting like boyfriend and girlfriend when you get together. But he has no responsibility. He doesn't have to do anything to keep you around. So make him do that.
Okay.
All right. And if it doesn't work out with this guy, no more accepting dates day of.
All right.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Keep me posted.
Hopefully I actually go through with it.
Well, what's the alternative?
There's no alternative. I'm going to do it.
I mean, there is an alternative. You could waste more of your time.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about running out of time, if let that be your motivator. Yeah, you're still really
Right.
young, but like you're right, you're not getting any younger. No one is. And if you don't fix this shortcoming you have, you're going to have to take action with your life, and you're going to have to get some guts and want to make some changes. And if you do, good things will happen. And if you don't, nothing will happen. This will just keep happening, and it can happen for a very long time, a very long time. There's an unlimited amount of people willing to waste your time. You have to stop allowing that to happen. And more importantly, you got to get better at, first you have to stop wasting your time so you get better at not allowing others to. Because again, it's an unlimited amount of people. Always be someone willing to waste your time.
Right.
Well, Godspeed. Good luck. I'm rooting for you. I would love an update. We'll check in on you.
Okay.
Hopefully
I'll
we have good
definitely
news.
give
I
you
want to
an
hold you
update.
accountable. All right.
Gotta hold myself accountable.
Yes, you do. Yep. You can do it. You can do it. Do it for you. Do it for your daughter. Whatever you need to motivate yourself. Like you have too much going for yourself to waste your time. You just do. There's millions of men out there that would love to make you their queen. You probably don't want most of them, but I'm just saying, don't waste your time. Just find the ones that you want. The one, your guy out there, the one that, because we all want someone where we feel like we all want to feel like a little proud of ourselves for landing the person we got. We all want to feel like not like they're out of our league, but it's almost like we want to feel a sense of, we don't want to feel like we settled. So your guy that you're going to be into will absolutely waste your time if you let him.
True.
Because the person you want also fancies themselves and also, likes to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so he's your guy is not out there sitting on his ass, just feeling sorry for himself, desperate to meet you. You won't, because you don't like him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to get good at not wasting your time so that the man that you want to be with won't waste yours.
I like it. Okay.
All right. Okay. Good luck. I'm rooting for you. All right. Take care.
You're crazy.
Bye-bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.